Welcome to our last 2.5 days in Palau. For our week in Palau, we had already done 2 snorkel trips and a drive around the island. For Thursday and Friday, we didn't have anything planned, and then Saturday we're flying back to Taiwan. Since the local authorities had finally caught the crocodile that attacked a swimmer at the Sea Passion Hotel, we decided we'd go snorkeling. We started our morning with a quick breakfast and then headed snorkeling. Even though this was just right next to our hotel, this is one of the best snorkeling spots we've ever been to. At low tide, the water around the hotel is only about 3 feet deep. This let us get up and close and personal with the clams and the fish and the coral. Inside this giant clam is one of the most aggressive fish that we ran into. On the following day, this little guy will attack me on several occasions. After about an hour of snorkeling, the tide had actually gotten so low that it was hard to swim over the coral anymore. We decided we'd seen quite a bit, and it was time to call it and go to lunch. For lunch, we stopped at a pretty popular place called the Chop Shop. We made it there just in time before it started absolutely pouring down rain for the rest of the afternoon on and off. For lunch, we had some fusion tacos and burritos that were very much what you would consider Hawaiian style or other Polynesian style of food. We really enjoyed the lunch here, and we were happy they were open finally when we were around, as previously we'd been driving around the island or going on snorkeling trips and they were closed by the time we got back. After an afternoon of on and off downpours and a pretty cloudy evening, we wandered out across the street to Miso Hungry. This is basically just a shop above the Chop Shop that we went to for lunch. Most of the folks here were the same people who ran the Chop Shop below it. We figured the food would be great if it was the same people, but we were a little bit disappointed in the poke bowls. Mine felt a little bit heavy on the mayonnaise, and Melody's felt like it was just a little bit of an odd flavor. Because we were slightly disappointed in dinner, we decided not to get dessert there. Since it hadn't rained in a little bit, we decided we'd risk the weather, grab an umbrella, and walk over to the drop-off bar to get some dessert. Once we got to the drop-off, we saw that they had a cake menu on their wall. These are all homemade cakes, and so we decided to try 2 of them. Melody got the pistachio and I got the brownie a la mode. These were 2 very excellent, dense, flavorful cakes, and we really enjoyed them. We actually enjoyed them so much that we ended up going back for dinner and cakes another night. After dinner, we capped off our relaxing Thursday with going to bed. Friday morning, we got up, saw that the weather had calmed down quite a bit, and it was clear and calm out in the bay next to the Sea Passion Hotel. So just like Thursday morning, we got up, grabbed some breakfast, and headed out into the bay to check out some fish. While it was the same location and some of the things were the same, we still really enjoyed going and looking at the giant clams again, as well as seeing all the fish swimming around us. In the large rocks next to the shore was this snakefish sea cucumber. It's a little bit creepy because at first it just looks like about a 10-foot piece of rope. Then you get a little bit closer and you realize it's ever so slightly moving. It made me think that it was some kind of inspiration for some of the space aliens you see in space horror movies. I got Melody to float over the empty giant clam here. It's just next to our hotel and you can actually see it from the outdoor bar. It's the same kind of clams that we saw live at Clam City in our snorkeling tour, but when you're that close to it, you realize just how enormous they are. You could fit most of Melody in that giant clam. Trying to get a better close-up look of the giant clam, I ran into the damselfish that seems to call this giant clam home. You can see here he's getting a little bit aggressive with me, and then he gets right up in my face, and then I start fending him off with my camera as he attacks me and hits my camera. People say triggerfish are aggressive, but this little guy is crazy. Trying to get a little video of this banded pipefish, I ran into another damselfish, not the same one that attacked me before. I wasn't doing anything, I was just staying in one spot, and then boom, he attacked me and my camera. To avoid hurting the little guy, I actually retreated because he was so aggressive. If you didn't think the snakefish sea cucumber was a little bit creepy before, this close-up shot shows he's definitely as creepy as I said he was. Not far away is this sea cucumber, which is a curryfish sea cucumber, and this big squishy bloated guy would just kind of slowly sifting back and forth across the sand. Melody wouldn't come near this one as she said it grossed her out, and I kind of see where she's coming from. After another great morning of snorkeling, we decided we'd go take a walk to lunch to go to the Japanese restaurant we went to the first night we were in Palau. Food here was still just okay for Japanese food, but that's what you could say about most of the food. However, they did have live coconuts that you could drink and eat, which absolutely delighted Melody. They also have a tank with giant clams on the inside that you could actually order to eat. After a relatively late afternoon lunch, we walked back to the Sea Passion Hotel and we thought, hey, let's go snorkeling again. Because the tide had come in a little bit, it was a little bit deeper than it was with the first time we went snorkeling. It was also in the afternoon, so the water wasn't quite as clear as it gets a little bit chopped up during the afternoon wind. It was still very pleasant and easy to snorkel through, and this time we took 2 cameras with us. Instead of taking the little DJI Action 5 myself, I gave it to Melody to take the video and I took my little underwater camera and took some photos. Because we don't have professional underwater gear or lights or anything fancy, some of our video and photos don't look as good as the professional stuff. I also did a bit of research trying to figure out what all the different critters we saw were, but there were so many different fish and so many different species that are very similar that I didn't want to tag things incorrectly, so some are left untagged. Our last dinner in Palau on Friday night was at the drop-off bar. We went back because we'd already had 2 good meals there and because they had more flavors of cake that I needed to try. I didn't get a picture of the cake menu this time, but I do believe this time we got carrot cake and some kind of a key lime pie flavor. The dinner and the cakes were both excellent again, and I was really glad we came here for our last dinner. Saturday morning, it was time to get ready to check out of our room and go catch our flight at 3 p.m. We started with our last free breakfast at the Sea Passion Hotel. We were a little bit thankful it was the last one, because while it was free, it wasn't particularly good. Hello. We're going to do a quick room tour of our room here in Palau. We're at
Sea Passion Hotel.
Yeah, we're at the Sea Passion Hotel. So yeah, here comes the room tour. Okay, so we got a room on the 3rd floor of the Sea Passion Hotel. We got the ocean view, which you can kind of see right now. We've got a couple king beds, but we'll come in here. And we've got the vanity that's actually part of the whole living space. Got a little bathroom here for the toilet. And at least it's decent size, but the door doesn't close properly, and it's like partially frosted glass instead of fully, so it's a little bit weird. And then a decent sized shower here with the world's cheapest plastic shower head that if you turn the water on, it shoots across the shower. So that's not awesome. And then we have a nice little basin here and a mirror that's way too low as I am holding it at high level now. And you can see you can't see my eyes, which means I have to bend over every time I look in the mirror. Same with the far mirror. It's not made for tall people. We've got a bunch of stuff here. This is our last day, so we have a bunch of stuff hanging up. You can see there's a lot of space in this room. We've got our first king bed here. And then we've got our second king bed we were actually sleeping in. Got a TV that we can't figure out how to make work, but we just use the internet, which is pretty spotty here, but worked. A refrigerator that's plugged in, makes noises, but is the same temperature as the room. And then we have, let's see here, our balcony here, which we didn't really use much, but it's kind of nice to be able to look out and see what the weather is because the weather changes constantly here. And then we have a nice little view out to the bay. And there's the main road over there, and the camera's fogging up because it is so hot and humid outside. The second you step outside, everything fogs up. Glasses, cameras, you name it. So that is our room. It's pretty interesting. We've got the whole resort below us. It's like there's a breakfast area. We did some snorkeling, so that's part of it, but this is just our room tour. And oh, and we have an AC unit that works great. We turned it down to 21 the first day, left the fan on the whole time. It's been perfect. So that's our end of our room tour.
Peace.
While normal checkout was 11 a.m., they did allow us to extend our checkout time to 1 p.m. That gave us about an hour gap between when we checked out and got our shuttle at 2 p.m. After hanging out in the air-conditioned room for a bit, we headed out to go check out to see what was going on next to the hotel bar. After spending some time watching the fishes jumping and the birds trying to catch them, we saw these guys coming by on their modernized versions of sea kayaks. While waiting for our shuttle, we went to the drop-off bar for lunch and skipped cake this time. Our shuttle picked us up, along with several other people from our hotel, around 2 p.m. This is 3 hours before our 5 p.m. flight, and that was the time our hotel insisted was the right time to get picked up. However, when we arrived at the airport, we found out that that's actually not the best time to get picked up. The departure section of the airport doesn't actually open till 3 p.m. The arrival section, as we knew from when we arrived, had zero air conditioning and not many amenities. This meant that we were all sitting around for 45 minutes waiting for someone to arrive to open the doors to the arrival terminal. Going through security was super quick as there were only like 20 people there, and then all of the shops actually open when the passengers arrive. Because we are the only flight out that day, they actually leave the shops open for about the hour and a half everyone's in there before they board, and then all the shops close as you leave and on board onto the plane. Because it was so convenient on our way out, we actually stayed at the Hyatt Regency International Airport Hotel on the way back in. They have this little lounge area that's the only place nearby open late that serves food, so we grabbed a burger and a salad. After that 11 p.m. burger, we headed back to our room to go to bed before our final day in Taiwan before we left.